my name is Alvaro Alvarez. I'm the Innovative Media Librarian here at Borpok. So I work very closely in the Creator Lab with my colleague Brendan Wheeler. I'm the Innovative Media Librarian, like I mentioned. Some of my duties are to do consultations with youth, the students, faculty, the UCR community, provide workshops, a lot of programming around the Creator Lab, the Makerspace, to enhance your stay here at UCR. So that's why I'm here today, because I'm going to hopefully create this tutorial that'll help you with your senior design, especially if you're not too sure how to start, how to use SolidWorks. I'm going to go over some of the basic stuff. So hopefully from this you can gain a little knowledge to help you when you start, or if you're just working on a project of your own. Hopefully this helps as well. I'll kind of explain some of the stuff that helped me when I'm working on a new project, and if you ever need any consultations or assistance, I'm here to help you. And my email is alvaro.alvarez@ucr.edu. Feel free to email me, schedule a time to meet, and we can go over your project. I can help you with the modeling, troubleshoot, you name it. And we do have a robotics lab with a lot of students that are very knowledgeable in that area. So if I can't help you with the code, someone else might be able to help as well, if I'm not around especially. So first, I have SolidWorks here. So this is the software that you will most likely be using in your classes. I mean, for your senior course, you could probably use whatever you wish. I'm not too sure what the requirements are, but I also use Fusion 360, Blender, SketchUp. It's for the iPad. I forgot the name of it right now. If I remember, I'll let you know. But yeah, I use various software. So the reason is because there's some things you can do easier on one than compared to the other. But at the end of the day, it's what you're comfortable with, what you want to use. So for your courses, you might want to like just stick to SolidWorks if that's the requirement, especially because it's the industry standard. So if you want to go looking for jobs around 3D modeling, they're probably going to look for SolidWorks on your resume, as opposed to like Blender or something else. But but anyway, you can see my screen. I have SolidWorks up. If you need help installing this too, I'm here to assist you as well. So just feel free to email me. As long as you're a student here, you can access this through the UCR. There's a website. I could share that with you as well. If your faculty and instructors haven't shared that with you already, but I'm sure they did. The problem first, I guess, with starting your project is like a lot of people aren't organized. So that's the main problem I see when they start. It's like they just want to start modeling without kind of thinking through what like the problem is, like some of the boundaries, conditions around your project. And especially in a large team, it's like you really want to separate all the different tasks so that like not one person's doing everything. Like if you have different parts of the model, or two or three different people going to be working on different parts, they have to communicate well to be able to, for example, if someone's working on the body, someone's working on the cover, you need to make sure you're using the right dimensions for the screws. If not, you're going to have different hole sizes and they won't connect. But so first, let's start, I guess, the way I go about it. So define like what you're trying to do, or you're trying to solve a problem. What's like, ask yourself the question like, what am I trying to do with this design or this creation? Once you figure that out, once you define the problem, it's easier to find the solution in your design. So then you would move on to maybe identifying the must-haves versus the like nice to have items in your project, because you know in a perfect world you'd have unlimited money to do whatever you need. But the reality is you might have a budget, so you might have to consider scaling down on some of the parts cost, or some of the maybe the size of your project, or sensors that you need. Go with the cheaper version. So you need to see what is the things you have to have, like your controllers, your boards, that you can't cut costs on, as compared to some of the other more cosmetic or modules that you can spend a little less on to save on your budget. Also, another thing to consider is like what is the requirements for your project? Like, is it going to be lifting heavy weights? Like, is that one of the requirements? Are you looking for aesthetic looks? You don't care too much about the functionality. Some of the things you just need to think about when you're working on your project. And that brings me to the next point where you have like your constraints and your boundary conditions. So there might be environmental factors to your project where maybe it's an underwater robot or something that needs to be submerged in liquid. How do you go about protecting your circuits? What do you need uh, to consider in that situation? That's just one example. Then, how much space is your robot going to take? Is it going to be a big robot? Or are you going for more compact? So once you have some of these things thought out, it's easier to move on to the next step, which is just kind of drawing your diagram. This is something like I always tell like students when I'm teaching workshops is like before you 3D model, it's easier to sketch your what it is you're going to make with all the dimensions, have all the components that you're going to use. That way you know what you're going to model. As opposed to you just go into SolidWorks and just start drawing randomly with different constraints, different sizes, and then it's just going to be messy, especially if you're working in a group and you're going to be printing things, you're going to have to be going back and forth to try to fix things, as opposed to you create a very nice detailed sketch with maybe a pencil or ruler. We use AI. I've used Gemini to like create reference images for me if I'm like making something. Like I did a reference image for a lightsaber, so I can just go into SolidWorks and draw around it, put the constraints, and get what I needed. So think about using some of those tools to create like a diagram or some sketches to help you with your design. So once you have that mapped out, the next step would be actually to go into SolidWorks, start implementing your design based on your sketches or your reference images. Once you have that ready to go, you could do your first test. And we have a 3D printing service here at the Creator Lab. It's free for academic use, so if you mention it's for your senior project, completely free. Doesn't matter the size. So you can send us your STL files from SolidWorks, and then we'll print them for you. You could prototype it. If things don't work out, maybe your tolerance levels aren't quite what you wanted, you could fix that in SolidWorks and then come back and print it till you finally get what you need and you're good to go. Um, so let me, I've talked a lot, so uh, let's get into SolidWorks. So you could see I have SolidWorks here. Let's see. So when you open SolidWorks, you're gonna have these two. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. So you're gonna have this window. If you have recent projects, you're gonna see them listed there. You could click on them. You can see it's pretty well organized here. You have your folders. You have some resources down here that you can use to learn more about SolidWorks if you need to. And then you have these, like you have your drawing, your assembly, your part. So you're going to be working mostly on these two. So a part is like if you're just going to start creating a part from nothing, like you don't have a base to go off of. So that's like with my lightsaber workshop where I just had a reference image. I went into part, brought in my image, and then I sketched around that image, and then I created my model. But let's say you have a Raspberry Pi and you want to create a base where the Raspberry Pi is going to screw onto, and then you have a bunch of other components too that you need to bring into your assembly. So that's where you go into assembly mode with Fusion. I'm not Fusion, I'm sorry, SolidWorks. Sorry, I get them all confused sometimes because I move back and forth between them a lot. But yeah, once you're in that, you have like your base model. So that would be like the parent or your what you're gonna use to start drawing around, and then you start building the components around that. So yeah, in this case, it may be the Raspberry Pi, and I'll show you in an example right now how that's done. And I can also go into the parts and show you what I meant with the lightsabers. Okay, so now let's get started in SolidWorks. So we are going to use the assembly mode to start modeling, and then I'll show you how to go into part and do it that way as well. So assembly is when you have like a base model that you're going to start modeling around. So in this case, my example, I have a Raspberry Pi. So I have a model of that I'm gonna model around. So for the fun of it, I'm just gonna, let's say I want to build a little base for it to mount it on. So I'm gonna go to assembly. First thing SolidWorks is gonna ask you for is what, like, I need a base model. So once you add that, you can start modeling. And I have a step file for that particular model. I'm gonna use the Raspberry Pi 4 Model B. Open. Takes a minute or two to load, but once it does, you will see your model. And again, I got this from GrabCAD, so that's like a soft website that a lot of people already have these models ready for you to just use. Uh, I'm gonna left click to drop it. You could see that it pops up in my hierarchy tree over here on the left, my design tree. So now let's you want to start sketching on one of the sides. So I want to do it from the bottom because I want to project that bottom piece to the sketch so that I can make a solid piece. So I'm going to click on that. Uh, Actually, first I need to go to insert component because I want a new component right below this. So every time you make a component, it's going to just keep going down on the hierarchy tree. So insert new part. That part is 19. You can rename it if you want to. I highly suggest you do if you're going to have a lot of different parts so that it's easier to get organized. So I'm going to click at the bottom. And to hover around in SolidWorks, you can middle mouse button to kind of pan around, zoom in and out with the wheel. If you want to zoom into a particular piece, hover over that piece and then zoom in and zoom out, move back into the middle. Uh, if you hold shift, that also, if you move your mouse up and down, that'll zoom in and out. Control will be going left or right, up and down. Another useful tool is up here. It gives you a little box, so it shows you like the orientation of what you're gonna view. So I believe this is the bottom. So I'm going to project the outer edges of this on my sketch. So pretty much think of it as you're drawing on a piece of paper, you're going to project those edges as on the sketch so that you can then extrude this out and make a solid piece that you can 3D print. So I'm going to use the Convert Entities tool. It's pretty much a projection tool, so if you use any other software like Fusion, there's a projection tool. This will project the edges if you go to Convert Entities under the Sketch tab. So just click on all the edges, the outer edges and the holes, because that's what I want projected in this particular case. Take your time. If you need to zoom in so you make sure you grabbed all the correct edges. If not, you won't be able to extrude. Actually, I don't want that one. I want the inner hole. And if you make a mistake and select something, you could just go back, click it again, and it'll unselect. So I have all the holes, all the outer edges, I believe, and I'm good to go. So I'll hit the check. That means I confirm my selections. Click on the part. So click on the sketch. Now you see the sketch, everything you highlighted. You want to go to features. You want to go to extrude base. And then if you middle mouse button, move it a little, you'll see this arrow. You can manually do this, or if you have a number over here, you could type it in, the exact number, maybe based off of screw you're going to use, the length of it. Hit left click, and then you'll see how thick it looks. Hit the check if you're good to go. And now you see I have the holes. So when I print this, I can use spacers and mount the pie to this. So let's say you want to continue adding to this component and you want to make some circles on the side. Maybe that's what you're going to use for like to mount it with a rod or something. So I'm going to click on that. Change the view. Makes it easy. So now you can see it gives you the measurements here. So I can go to sketch, click on the tool for the circle, zoom in, and then you can find the middle over here if you hover around. For this sake, I'm just going to kind of put it anywhere. So I have this circle. Let's say I want another one. If you click on the middle, it gives you that little dotted line. I can do another one. Same diameter or bigger, depending on the rods or whatever screw you're using. So once I have the circles I want, I'm just going to hit check, confirm it. Now I'll go to features, go to extrude cut because I want to make holes. I'm going to click on both, and you see over here you have all the information on the, what you're trying to do, and click on the arrow. I'm going to go all the way through, hit the checkbox, and you see now I have those holes. So that's the process you're going to use when creating a component like this in the assembly mode. Um, so I guess ideally you're going to create multiple components. So like if I wanted a cover for the pie, I would do the same process, maybe start from the top and project all these pieces so that like the cover can like snap into the bottom piece. So if you're gonna do that, you just click on edit component, and then you can see what you have so far. And then you want to create a new component. So this is the bottom piece. Like I said, you can rename it here by right clicking it. I'm not gonna rename it, but I suggest you do if you're gonna have like a ton of components in your drawings. So now I'm going to do pretty much the same step again, insert part. Now I have part 20, and then it's gonna want me to select an area where I want to start to sketch. I could start at the top of the pie, and then again, same process. It's you want to either do your drawing if you know what you're gonna do with the measurements, or convert entities again and repeat the same process I did earlier, where you select all the edges and then extrude your piece. So yeah, this is just a really basic example of how you can get started on your senior design project or any hobby project you're working on if you want to build around a component and an existing model of something that you have. So yeah, the next one I'm going to show you is just doing it from scratch. So I did mention creating like reference images and using them, so that's what I'm going to do in the next step. Alright, so now we are going to work in part mode. So instead of assembly, we're just going to start from scratch, nothing there as our base. So the first thing you want to do is either start a new design or open up SolidWorks again, go to part. When you click on it, you're going to get same window basically. Everything's the same. It's just there's nothing. It's not gonna ask you to import anything at the start, so that's not too bad. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a sketch. So you see the planes here. I'm gonna use a front plane. So I'm going to create a sketch on that plane. From here, I'm going to import a reference image. So I just used for this project, I did I'm trying to do a lightsaber from Lego Star Wars. So I have the electronic components here, so I'll show you. So yeah, you see I have like the battery, the speaker, the lights, the battery, everything connected. I'm ready to go. All I need now is to model. But like I mentioned earlier, before I even begin to do my final model, I am going to measure everything out so that I know the dimensions of like all the holes, where everything's gonna go, how everything's gonna sit within the saber, how I'm gonna connect the parts. I'm probably gonna have to model it in sections and then add thread so that I can screw them all in together or find another way to snap it in together. Once I figure all that out, and I could come in here into SolidWorks, and then I can create the final well, not final. There might be something I might have to go back and redo after I print. It'll be a prototype, but I'll be pretty close to the final product. So let's see. So here I'm going to bring in the reference image I made. I did it in Gemini with Nano Banana. So it just I just had a picture of a little Lego piece that I took, and then I asked if it could give me a reference image going to 3D model, and it gave me like a side view of the lightsaber, which is what I'm going to use here. So it's really helpful sometimes to have reference images, so that way you can, especially when you're modeling, so that you're not trying to figure, like, kind of guess what you're trying to do. But yeah, let's start. So here, you want to hover over here by the SolidWorks logo. You should get these tabs in the top. You want to go to Tools, and then you want to go to uh, where is it? Oh, sketch tools. Sorry, it's more in the middle, and then in the bottom you have your sketch picture. So again, you go to tools, sketch tools, and then sketch picture, and then from there you can import an image. So I have it here, and I can drag it, scale it if I need to. Yeah, so yeah, you see I can scale it, move it. I think that should be good right here. And then I just hit the check when I'm good to go. And then I have that sketch here. So everything time you create something, I'm pretty sure I might have mentioned this already when we were working in assembly, but you'll have your parts on the left here. You can right click, and then you have a lot of different options for it. Like you can hide it, you can comment, parent child. Um, but yeah, that's like if you want to do anything here. So let's see. It should let me rename it to comment. Well, it's because I'm still in Sketchbook. So when I exit, I'll show you that piece. So actually, I think I'm done for this sketch. So I'll exit this, and now it should give me different options. So you see now I have this edit sketch. I can hide it, zoom, normal to normal two is just another way to bring the view back to this that kind of centers your object again. I've been showing you this way, so that's just another way to do that. And rename. I just saw it right now. Down here. Rename tree item if you want to. It's up to you. I suggest you do rename your pieces if you are gonna be doing a lot. I'll just rename this one to show you. So I'll just do reference image, and then yeah, that way you know. So if you're gonna have like I mentioned a lot of sketches and parts, yeah, it's good to be organized. So the next piece is I'm going to uh, create another sketch on the front plane again. I want to sketch. I'm going to use the very basic tools, just the line tool. We're just going to use the line tool and the circle tool mostly today. I'm going to use create a sketch. So I have sketch 2 right below the reference image sketch. So now I'm going to use the line tool. Keyboard, if you are into the shortcuts, is L. Just click on that, and then it'll let you start. I'm just going to trace. If you do have measurements, when I do come back and do this with all my measurements, I'll be able to, as I'm sketching at the dimensions, or when I'm done, you can use Smart Dimensions, which is up here to click on the edges and add the dimensions you need to each of the parts. So that makes it really good. So especially when you're trying to put your components in, you're gonna know it's gonna work. And another useful thing I recommend you guys just print is this tension. It's like you want to tolerance. You want to know what the tolerance levels are at. So when you're measuring, you can add the tolerance to your component. So if you want the component to fit really loose, this one's showing it's at a 0.25, 0.2. But then if I wanted a tighter fit, it's over here. Like once I start getting to these numbers on this side, they're a lot tighter. So maybe for like the lightsaber part, I wanna have a tension, or not a tension, I'm sorry. Um Tolerance level over here of like negative 0.05. That way it's a little tighter. So if you have any questions on that, I can have a consultation with you. It's quite easier to show you in person, but or once I have like a printed item, I could show you what I mean. But anyway, let's get back here. So I'm just gonna start tracing this really quickly with the line tool. So actually, I don't want that to select. So Control Z just to get back to this. Hit L. Then I'm going to continue forward. Let's see, go this way, go down. Let me zoom out, zoom in. And SolidWorks does a really good job of giving you these little dashes, so that way it keeps your drawing straight, and you know you're not going off at an angle. Then just keep going. And the first time you're doing this, it's going to be a little difficult, I guess, to control what you're doing. But the more you do it, it's going to get easier. So I'm only going to do half of the saber, so around here. And then I'm going to go to this part and then make sure it connects. So I connected it together. Everything looks good. I have that half of the saber done. So now I want to hit the check. So I'm going to say I'm okay. I'm good to go. So now the next part is I want to use the revolve tool to create the solid piece in a circular in a rotation. So let me see. I think I can do it here. So quick revolve. And it's going to ask you for the axis of revolution. So that just means that it wants to know where you want to start your revolve from. So I'm just doing it from that center line. So that's why I just sketched half of the lightsaber, because I plan to use that middle line so that I can revolve around it in 360 degrees, which is over here on the left. If you don't want it 360 degrees and you wanted it 180 or another number, you can change it. I'm going to do it because I want it to go all the way around and connect, so it's a solid piece. But yeah, I mean, like, you might only want half of it because you want to mirror it later, create like certain little chambers for parts. So it's up to you. The way my parts are, they just kind of slide in. So when I model this again, I'm going to probably let me see, normal too. So yeah, I'm probably gonna split it into parts, and then I'm thinking of doing threading. That way it's easy to, if I need to get the part again or not. So that's the way I might do it. So yeah, you see, here's what my sketch looks like. So I think I was a little off. Yeah, you see. So but that's not a problem. Like, I can always go back and edit if I need to. It's up here, edit sketch. So if I wanted to go back, I can do that and then redo it. Then I would do the revolve again. Let me Control Z it. For the sake of this, I'm just gonna keep it like this. I'm not gonna make any corrections to the sketch, but looks good so far. So the next thing I would want to show you is like maybe how to create some pieces here on this part of the lightsaber. So for a lot of this, you're gonna want to create some offset planes where right now I'm relying mostly on these three. I could use those three for some instances, but yeah, for other, depending on where I want to draw, maybe I want to start my drawing in the middle over here, just because go to side view. Just because it's easier for me to trace from this view. So let me see. But then I don't want to start over here because it would extrude all the way over. So in that case, let me show you. So I'm going to, okay, so I'm not in sketch mode. So reference geometry, you want to do plane. So I'm going to do that. And let me go back to the side view. And I'm gonna zoom in. So now I created this brand new plane on the edge of the lightsaber. So now what I want to do with that is I want to move it over to around like this area. So that's why I keep saying it's very important to have your measurements, especially if you, that way I would know I need to go back like half an inch or an inch towards the inside of the lightsaber. But for now, since I'm just showing you, I don't have measurements in mind. So here you can see if I increase it, it goes out to the opposite way that I want it to go. So you need to flip the offset. So if I do that, now it goes the opposite way, which I want, and then I can just do that. And that's close enough. I think it would be at let me see, what was the other number? I think that's good enough. But if I wanted to, you can delete and change the number. You see, and then it's lined up with the image. It's no big deal. So here, what I want to do now is hit the check. Or not the check. Oh yeah, the check. Now I have this brand new plane, plane number one. So now I have all these planes on the lightsaber to draw on, and it's new, brand new plane. So just think of it like I added a new piece of paper. Like I have all these drawings here, and then yes, added a new piece of paper up at the a certain point so that I can start drawing there and create my solid. So from here, I want to change my view to this area. That way I can sketch easier. So again, I just change the view using this tool. I'll zoom in. So now I want to reference this circle so that it's on this plane when I'm sketching. That way I can draw another circle and then I can create that piece of the lightsaber there a little easier with the revolve tool, which I'll show you. Um, it just creates a pattern for you so that I don't have to keep drawing it around and try to guess the distances and everything. So let's go to sketch. I want to create a sketch on plane one. And I don't know if I did. Let me control Z. I think I had it selected. Okay, yeah, I did. Okay. So I'll create a sketch on that plane. Now I want to offset, convert entities because I want to project this to the drawing. Let's see. There you go. And just the edge, that's all I need. So I'm gonna hit check. So now I have that over here. So this edge, now I have it projected over here. And that's just from convert entities. So in Fusion, it's just called projection. Here, it's convert entity. So I often get confused with both and going from one to the other. So once I have that, I'll change my view again to this way. And then now I have that circle. Now I want to draw another circle, so I'm going to use the circle tool. Click on that middle. It indicates where the middle is on your sketch. So I'll just say let's go around, and then you can hover around and see. Looks like around here. That should be good. So let's see. So I have the two circles that I want. I'll check that. So I have this one and this one. Now I'm going to draw just the lines here. It could either be straight or at an angle. Depends on the design of your lightsaber. But for now, I'll just kind of do it at an angle. So now let me change the view again. Zoom in. And perfect. So now I'm going to use the line tool. So I'm going to just, this is the middle. So from here, I'll just kind of draw a line going from here down this way to connect to that edge, and then escape to exit the line tool. And then again, that's the middle. So we go around here, and then there you go. It's pretty close, actually. So yeah, now I have this, and then I'm gonna draw a middle line just as a reference. So that's the middle. Go down, connect it. Make sure it connects. Always make sure it connects. You can zoom in to make sure that it is. Escape to exit the line tool. So now I have that basic design of that piece of the lightsaber. So now what I want to do is I mean, it looks pretty clean. I probably could get away with just extruding that. But if I wanted to clean it up a bit, Smart Dimensions tool, you can click on these on the dots, and then you can tell it the distance. So right now, it's at 2.32. So maybe I want it at 0.3. So 0.3. And I can hit the check. And then I can do the same over here. So I already have it selected. I'll click on this one, and then I could do 0.3. And this one's actually, that's pretty clean right there. But you can do that again to the bottom. just to make sure that everything's good. So click on that, and then from here, we can see what it is. So it says 0.4267. Let's just do 0.4. And let's do it again for this point. And this point, we want a distance of 0.4. So now it's pretty symmetrical now. So now that we have that, we can extrude it out. Let's see. I'll hit the check. And then I want to go to features, and then you want to do extrude. And then make sure you click on that on those two pieces, not on any of this, because it'll just extrude everything else out. I'll just give it a side view. And then I think it was, let's see, control to move it. Control middle mouse to kind of hover around, and then I'll zoom in. So actually, I probably want a side view for this to make it easier. So right now, I'm going this way, but I want to go the opposite way. So I'll just move it this way. I'm eyeballing it too. I'm not. I can zoom in a little more and make sure that it's there. Looks like it's slightly off. That should be good. So now I should have a piece. Oh, did I? Oh no, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so now let's hit the check, and now we have that solid piece on the end of the lightsaber on both sides. You can't see it because of the reference image over here covering the monolith, but yeah, it's on both ends. So now that that's selected, I have that selected. I right away want to go to features. I think it's where is it? Over here under linear pattern, going to use circular pattern. So as long as I have everything selected that I know, actually it's asking me to. There you go. Let me see. Nope. Let me start over. So let me click on that. Let's see. Circular pattern. Let's see. So I want 4. It's too big. So the distance. It's not right. Let's see. So let's extrude. Okay, so now I clicked on the extrude that I did, and then I want to go to circular pattern. So now I want why it's not showing. Let's see. Oh, the direction. That's why. The direction I didn't choose it, so it's this one. You want it on along that edge of that circle. So yeah, that's why it wasn't showing. Sorry. 360 degrees. I want 4. So let me see. It's 2. What distance? That 3, 4. That should be right. So I mean, you can add more if you want to, but I can show you. The more you add, as long as you have equal distance, it'll space it out really good for you. But I'll do 4. I'll hit the check to say I'm okay with this, and then now I have that pattern all around it. So a good chunk of my lightsaber is done already. So the next piece is like if I had the buttons over here, it's the same, pretty much the same thing I did over here. You would want to create an offset of the plane, maybe have it like around that side of that handle, and then you would sketch, and then you instead of extruding, you would do an extrude cut to cut the holes. So that's how you would do anything here on the side of the lightsaber, or if you wanted to add a little box or something, you would, instead of a cut, you would do the other extrude, and it would attach to this. And the same with this too. I would follow the same process I just showed you. I would create this from the side view. Then I would do the revolve tool to add that. And the other one is just here. If I go to the end to add the circle for this piece for the lightsaber part, I could just like everything, just click on the plane, go to sketch, create a new sketch. You see the sketches over here. Use the circle tool. The middle, it indicates where the middle is when you hover over it, like I mentioned. So you can left click and then draw your circle. And then, depending on the size that you want, you can left click and then hit OK. And then you want to go to features and you want to do an extrude cut. And then you would, whatever you is easier for you. But yeah, you can make a cut all the way over. Well, that would be too deep. But maybe this deep. If you know the measurements, that's why I said it'll make it easy for you. Because then you can just come over here and be like, oh, okay, it's a 1.8. And then, yeah, you're set. So I'm going to leave it at that. And you can see now I have the hole. So, pretty simple. So, in like 30 minutes, I was able to almost complete the sketch here of the Lego lightsaber. So, I mean, yeah, it's really easy once you get the hang of it with SolidWorks, and has a lot of different tools that you could use. Like I showed you some here and in the previous examples. So, hopefully this helps you get started with your senior design or your personal project 3D modeling. And if you have any questions, always I'm here to assist you with consultations. My email again is just alvaro.alvarez@ucr.edu. And just remember, yeah, the more you plan ahead of time, the better. Once you start modeling, yeah, it's a lot easier. You're gonna save a lot of time if you have all the measurements and the requirements that you need. Like, is your team using a Raspberry Pi or Arduino? Which specific board are you using? What type screws are you using? Are they M2s? What's the length that you need them at? Especially if you're working in a group and you have more than one person working on the modeling, yeah, you want to make sure you're all in agreement for the components and the screws or whatever you're gonna use to put everything together at the end. But yeah, well, anyway, yeah, thank you, and hopefully this helps you with all your future endeavors. So, see you soon.